I'm back and you're watching today's World News. I'm Randolf Jamias from the capital, Naypyidaw. Leading the news, UN Chief Ban Ki-moon arrived in Cairo Monday on the first leg of a visit to support Egyptian-mediated efforts for a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas in Gaza. Ban is scheduled to meet Egyptian Foreign Minister Mohammed Kamel Amir later in the evening and Arab League Chief Nabil al-Arabi on Tuesday. The Secretary General will then travel to Jerusalem later on Tuesday or Wednesday, according to UN diplomats. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas said Ban would also go to the Palestinian territories. Egypt is leading efforts to mediate the truce, chairing marathon indirect negotiations in Cairo between Hamas leader Khaled Meshal and an Israeli envoy. Back at the current ASEAN summit, at the rounds of high-level talks, there are hopes that massive regional trade agreement will be finalized. An analyst said the establishment of regional comprehensive economic partnership will lay a solid foundation to further boost ASEAN integration.
The 10 ASEAN countries and 6 partners, including China, Japan, Australia, India, South Korea, and New Zealand, are hoping to ink a free trade pact covering wide-ranging areas across the Asia-Pacific region, known as the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, or RCEP. The planned zone will span across 16 countries, which currently account for a third of global trade and economic output, and would turn it into the biggest free trade area in the world. Currently, in the Asian-Pacific region, economic alliance negotiations have so far been conducted bilaterally. The establishment of the RCEP is beneficial to all the 16 countries. Cambodia, which holds a rotating chairmanship, says building the RCEP will lay a foundation to promote ASEAN integration.
How ASEAN that formulated, through a cooperation of confidence and stuff like that. To talk like a multilateral between ASEAN as a whole with partners. So how to modify that? How we modify the way of they think to be we are, not instead of I. If bilateral or multilateral is the question mark.
The framework for setting up the RCEP was adopted by the ASEAN at the 19th ASEAN Summit in 2011. The countries are expected to hold their first round of talks early next year and aim to conclude the negotiations by the end of 2015. Quan Xiangxin, CCTV.
Now let's turn again to some climate concerns. Scientists have been talking for years about the dangers of global warming. Now the World Bank issued their own warning. They say rising temperatures could lead to devastation on a global scale.
Bank officials have released a report saying current pledges to cut greenhouse gas emissions are not enough. Surging energy consumption in developing countries is driving up temperatures. The world could heat up this century by 4 degrees Celsius. The bank's experts predict a large decrease in Arctic sea ice. They say sea levels will rise by up to 1 meter. Analysts warn that developing nations will be hit by flood, drought, and shortages of food. But they say it might not be too late. They're calling on nations to take more active steps to reduce emissions.
Moving on, let's go to Turkey. Over the past few days, Istanbul's famous Taksim Square has been turned into a building site. Construction work will be a long-drawn process with the aim of pedestrianizing the city's nerve center. A few days ago, Taksim Square, the heart of Istanbul, was just that. Today, it's a huge building site with $28 million invested in the first phase of demolition and construction. Eventually, Taksim Square will be completely pedestrianized, an area of 100,000 meters squared where cars and buses will be diverted underground, thanks to the construction of 2 tunnels, 300 and 400 meters long. The infamous traffic jams of the megalopolis will give way to garden, art galleries, shops and cafes and restaurants. All they can say for now is that the new Taksim Square is unlikely to see the light of day before 2015. Now in Japan, Japanese firms showcased incontinence devices that combine a diaper with a personal bidet, just one of many inventions on display at a Tokyo exhibition to help the country's fast-growing elderly population. Even growing old in Japan is becoming a high-tech affair. This nappy attached to a personal bidet is the latest cutting-edge invention catering to the country's elderly. Companies are rolling out an increasing number of devices to support the old and infirm. Hundreds flock each year to this Tokyo exhibition to see the latest developments. A change in public insurance schemes now allows devices such as the nappy and bidet to be rented. Toyota's latest robot is a fully fledged domestic helper for the elderly. Controlled by a touch-screen tablet, it collects objects that have fallen to the ground by calculating their size and weight. It can also open curtains and help you communicate with loved ones. With 40% of Japan's population expected to be aged over 65 by 2055, many of the country's ever-creative inventors are now betting on the elderly care sector. In other news, China's shoe manufacturer Alcang, which has been marred in a 6-year EU dumping investigation. The company has cleared of all the dumping charges alleged by the European Commission. Let's have a closer look in this story.
China's leading shoemaker has won a lawsuit against European Union anti-dumping measures on Chinese leather shoes. The European Court of Justice ruled in Alcang's favor and awarded the company damages of 5 million Chinese yuan, or almost $1 million. This includes tariff refunds and legal costs. Such judgment is what Alcang has received after 6 years of battling it out in the court.
Over the past 6 years, the European Union has dispatched delegations to our company a couple of times. They have realized that Alcang is a company which strictly complies with regulations.
Following the EU's decision of levying 16.5% anti-dumping duties in October 2006, 5 Chinese shoe companies launched a lawsuit, but Alcang was the only one that kept appealing until the end. Industry insiders say the judgment will have a big impact on China's overall shoemaking industry.
Thanks to Alcang's effort, Chinese shoemakers will now not be subject to an additional 16.5% tariff. That's very significant.
Experts also believe that the winning of the case will create a legal basis for Chinese shoemakers when facing international trade disputes in the future. Xuan Xiangping, CCTV.
For our final story, we might value our lives very highly and feel that we are of uttermost importance. But in the long run, not much of us remain. In fact, nothing, at least nothing physical, if we don't behave like marine reptiles did 100 to 200 million years ago. When they were dying, they laid themselves to rest in the mud, thus protected from the effects of oxygen. They later became fossils. How nice of them, as there are really some beautiful ones out there. Let's take a look.
This is the Torres del Paine National Park in southern Chile. The Tyndall Glacier is melting and revealing a piece of geological history. In the exposed rock, scientists have discovered the remains of a prehistoric marine reptile. This is its spine. The tail of the ichthyosaur, or fish lizard, was slightly curved. German paleontologist Eberhard Prey calls it a remarkable finding.
Ichthyosaurs of such a size are extremely rare. In southern Germany, there is one site that is called an ichthyosaur graveyard, where several species lie together. But what we have here is a huge area with at least 20 ichthyosaurs that have been scraped out by the glacier. And this is unique in the world.
This is what ichthyosaurs may have looked like. 4 to 5 meter long reptiles that lived exclusively in the water. In their appearance and lifestyle, they resembled today's dolphins. The scientists are walking on what was once the bottom of a 1,000-meter deep ocean. They even find a fossilized pine cone lying on it.
For us, it's like detective work. We can draw conclusions from every fossil and little clue we come across. And all our conclusions taken together enable us to develop a picture of what the ocean floor looked like.
Patagonia is a treasure trove for paleontologists. Excavations have already uncovered gigantic saurians and fossilized primeval crocodiles. They're doing field work, which consists of recording, measuring, and sketching. Every detail could be crucial for understanding the period of the marine reptiles. Examining the rock, the researchers discover ichthyosaurs' favorite meal, an early form of squid. Were there so many ichthyosaurs here because they hunted for food together? And if so, why did they die here? The paleontologists suspect that mudslides triggered by earthquakes dragged them into the depths of the ocean. It's a scientific detective story with many unanswered questions, and there's not much time to gather the evidence. The melting glacier may have revealed the fossils, but weather is rapidly disintegrating them into dust.
That's all we have for now. See you again next time, and have a good one.